Yo, what is up everybody? Welcome to a Cavalier cheat sheet video, and this is a bit delayed. Normally I try to get these out on like Thursdays or kind of like the day after the content drops, but because of you know, as I said, I've been at a wedding for a good chunk of last week, it did mean that this is a bit delayed. Now we can get on with stuff. So yeah, I think I'm going to conclude, normally like within a week I've concluded all the monthly based content coverage before I go into some other stuff. But yeah, like by sometime next week. Any case, enough waffling, let's get down to business, and that is champions that are good for the paths and also boss interactions. Where I can, I'll throw up footage of this kind of like an action, and I welcome you to go to the description where it's sending you to link to the Cavalier cheat sheet for August. And if you don't know already, on a monthly basis, there'll be the path cheat sheet there. There'll be a boss breakdowns tab and a miss and evade counters list. The reason I put all these three in is because they help towards kind of like formulating ideas of champions for the paths, champions for the bosses, and champions for specific kinds of situations which Kabam throw at us. So let's get down to business, and let's start with 1.1. 1.1 is the Heimdall as a boss, and on this particular route there is a nice little, I think it's crack in the armor. Yeah, crack in the armor. Crack in the armor, loads of champions for this depending on how you want to take it on. Whether or not you want to go down the route of having champions which have armor break to them, as that's normally the kind of the way you kind of interact with kind of like suppressing armor. You suppress the armor, you get the Fury buff. It's as simple as that. So yeah, go about that as you see fit, and of the damage that you will indeed do, and the fun that you will have. That lovely passive Fury as a result. For the boss, you're going to be going up against Heimdall, and with Heimdall, there's nothing really to worry about. If you've got armor break champions, it can be relatively helpful to take him down, as he gets well, no, he's got explosive personality, but breakthrough, and I kind of feel like if you're armor breaking a champion into oblivion, with some of the champions you've even taken on the route, it's fine. You can bring like combo building champions to go, hey, you know, we're straight into like combo party, we're doing more damage as well. I gotta be honest, it's a very easy boss fight. I ended up just using like Dr. Doom because it's a class advantage, and with Mr. Fantastic having an armor break, so it kind of like help with the process of just pummeling Heimdall. So yeah, you do you at the end of the day, who you take and who use for the paths. 1.2 is skillful distraction. This is all about using champions that are skill-based champions and also dealing with mixed master. So you can approach this in various different ways. I mean, for me, I kind of look at this as well, okay, skillful distraction, either put disorient, incinerate, or shock. I kind of find it easy to use champions that just got it as part of their base kit, or champions that deal with kind of like suppressing evade. If you suppress evade, then you're fine, because at the end of the day, they evade. You could use anything. You can use Apocalypse, Archangel, parry heavy, simple as that. Warlock, parry heavy. Black Widow, Deadly Origin, has shock, suppresses, easy. Falcon, go into locked on, and you're able to suppress there. So look, loads of different options on that one. Slowly you have champion, Sorcerer Supreme, Dragon Man, Silver Centurion. The list goes on of easy rotational champions. You could even use Nick Fury after 5 tactical charges. You know, again, list goes on of champions that you can effectively use to take this down. And with the boss, so the boss for this one is it Yellow Jack? No, Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer. Right, again, there's nothing really to worry about with this one. This has got Mystic Ward, it's got Insult to Injury. For each debuff, the opponent reduces their defensive ability accuracy. The defender has 100% increased defensive ability accuracy, blah, blah, blah. 3 or more debuffs, yada, yada. Fractured Guard, the attacker gains a permanent armor break debuff, reducing their armor rating by 10% whenever they block one of the defender's attacks. When the defender throws a special attack, they remove 1 bar of this armor break debuffs and each full bar of power they had. So it's up to you how you want to play this out. Whether or not you want to have champions that are purifying debuffs, again, that's up to you. If you're worried about anything else, which for me it was just like making sure the champion throws SP1s, then have at it. Any champion really works for this, as long as you keep the enemy champion to SP1. Dealing with buffs is up to you. Dealing with those debuffs that you have and you purifying them with the likes of Crossbones, Karnak, Misty Knight, to name again, but bar few that can deal with debuff situations. So again, down to a personal choice. This month, I got to be honest, isn't the most kind of like overly difficult. I felt it quite, you know, easy to do. 2.1 is all about the tech champions. Tech champions being high voltage. So as it says here, each time a tech attack inflicts power drain, burn, or lock on a defender, inflict a shock passive, and then each time the defender is inflicted with a shock effect, or when either champion uses a special attack while the defender is suffering from shock effect, techs gain, you know, attack rating. There are quite a few champions. This was quite a few champions being added to the game that are relatively interesting. I gotta be honest, Hulkbuster is an absolute delight for this one, but you can have so many. You know, Penny Parker, Nimrod. Penny Parker is definitely like a great shout champion. Guillotine 2099 with the pre-fight, Mysterio with special attacks, Kang with special attacks, Vulture in general. The list goes on. Warlock, SP1 shock. Hulkbuster, as I said, is a great champion for this one, and Sentinel as well, because it's just easy rotations, parry heavy, parry, whatever it is. I'm probably going to be doing some like footage of that at some point in a special video, because I love it. Any case, when it comes to bosses for this one, it is Yellow Jacket all the way, and again, Yellow Jacket doesn't have a huge amount of things kind of like to frustrate players. Yes and no with that one. Power controlling, of course, right? Will you find yourself getting a power sting on you once in a while? Yeah. When the attacker gains a bar of power, they are afflicted with a power sting debuff for 6 seconds. Now, it's up to you how you want to approach this one. For me, it's a case like when I'm going back to play this again, I will undoubtedly use Purify or debuff shrugging champions. Crossbones, Karnak, Misty Knight, you know, the list goes on of debuff shruggers, because what you have is that power sting on you. You want to keep up the aggression. You also got an SP1 that's unblockable, so it's up to you how you want to suppress the extent of it. And it could be cases where you look to champions like Penny Parker to kind of just make sure that you're suppressing that particular energy. Go class disadvantage and use the likes of Doctor Doom. Use a power control champion if you are feeling that the energize and as well get into power sting is a bit too kind of frequent, and that's probably what I would recommend with that one. Warlock could work as well to a degree, but again, this is just down to personal preference of what champions you feel are better to take this on. Debuff shruggers, power control champions, and those kind of things. Over to 2.1, and again, another kind of like easy, straightforward type of fight and kind of setup for the paths. Any champion that is a Mystic-based champion. Mystic-based champion. I don't know, I'm turning a bit Italian for some kind of reason. So if you have a Mystic-based a Mystic-based champion, then you're going to be okay by that. You know, it's Arcane Zeal, so it's just a case of Mystic attacker fills a bar of power. They gain a passive prowess, special attack up to 80% for 50 seconds. So basically, like, just be proactive with stuff. When the defender activates special attack, they gain a stun immunity. Just kind of like look to suppress buffs, fire special attacks, easy as that. Doctor Doom is great. Thor Jane Foster, Hood, Black Widow Clairvoyant, Sasquatch, Symbiote Supreme. You choose whatever you've got available. Juggernaut. I might even use Juggernaut in like future kind of little kind of like special videos, like music video type things, like I did last month. Because especially that with Juggernaut, like I kind of feel like I want to kind of break him out to see like how he can actually dominate this particular one. And for the boss, I would recommend any champion that can deal with the following. First of all, defective defense. So basically, you might want a champion that's able to shrug debuffs, and as well kind of like gain fury buffs, or kind of gain buffs in general. Lots of champions work for this. You could use a combination of things. You could use any cosmic based champion. So you could use the likes of Angela, you could use the likes of King Groot, you could use Venom, for example. You could use a whole host of champions like that deal with that particular situation. The reason that I kind of say, okay, well, those were pumping iron, but in particular, champions that gain, number one, a lot of buffs, but number two, anything that's able to shrug off any kind of stuff. Like I swear, Angela may be kind of like good for certain situations, but then Crossbones, right, builds up all those fury buffs, and as well is able to shrug off the disorient, which is a debuff. That could be a bit of a problem. So again, down to personal preference of the champions chosen, but do bear in mind you need champions that have lots of buffs. but maybe could shrug off as well at the same time. Over now to 3.1 and ending off the Cavalier quest. First of all, that you've got Healing Factor, Just a Scratch, Relentless Mutation. Mutant champions for the win. Of course it is. There's lots of champions that could be chosen for this. Kitty Pryde, Jubilee, Apocalypse with prowess. We've got Professor X, Magneto as well, because there could be champions on there that hashtag metal. Bishop, the list goes on. There's tons of champions that you could take for this, and especially any champions that are regen mutant based champions that could deal with these particular situations. So that's very straightforward for this particular route. I think as well as just thinking about how to take on Quicksilver. Now Kabam are very clever in that they've made this Archangel proof, and that's by making it poison, being immune to poison. The champion does shrug off debuffs 40% sooner. So it's a case of figuring out champions that deal with the evade portions of Quicksilver. And that's just the thing, like, he's not too bad as long as you've got champions that maybe are having slow debuff or as part of their, you know, like generic kit are able to suppress things like evade. So you could go down the route of saying, okay, we'll use Falcon, Nick Fury, any kind of slow debuff champion, but do be warned about the extent of the shrug off with rapid metabolism. And I would say that champions like Falcon and Nick Fury probably are the best ones, unless you've got anything lurking around that can deal with these one. True accuracy champions may be good as well. Even better if those are true accuracy. Yeah, if they're true accuracy, because then it's like a positive buff for you. So yeah, choose champions that may be true accuracy champions for this. So there are a few in the cheat sheet to mention, like Obsidian, which has true accuracy, and I'm pretty certain it's true accuracy. Yeah, true accuracy. Mole Man's got true accuracy, but that's a bit of a sore subject, ladies and gentlemen. Very sore subject. So yeah, any evade counters that have got true accuracy in their kit are probably going to be better at dealing with it, because, you know, it's not anything else. True Strike as well, Odin. So again, this goes on. Plenty of champions out there to kind of like take on the situation, try and keep champion to SP1, all those particular things. Now, the final one. Now on to Galen. Now, whilst I'm recording this video, I've just had a chance to kind of like get delve into stuff, and I'm going to be trying out some stuff like White Magneto and that passive stun, because I think it's going to be very important for this. On the final path, it is all about science-based champions, which is the 1-2 punch. And there's loads to mention. You've got anything that power stings is relatively good, but anything that draws anything like a petrify debuff can be very, very helpful, especially for power that is gained. And you can look to the likes of She-Hulk, great with the SP2 and rotation. Love Mr. Fantastic. Mr. Fantastic was great because you just like parry heavy for the entirety of it, and you do a great amount of damage. So yeah, loads of champions there. SP2 Petrify by Mr. Negative. Cap Infinity War with Tech and Science. Great amount of damage. Mortal Abomination as well. Solid option. There's tons of options to take on for this. And when it comes to the boss side of things, again, interesting enough, it is Galen. Now, where do we go with Galen? Galen's a bit of an odd one. Galen does have Limber, which means that he can like reduce the time of stun debuffs, but because it's, again, quote, debuffs, it should be a case that the passive side of things is ineffective. I believe that's in theory that's correct. Fight or flight, just keep distance, and the champion just gains a lot of buffs, and the special attack is a bit of an off one. If you keep to the SP1, the SP2 is more of a beam type attack. So the SP1 is kind of like, it's like an up in the air, and you have to like dex at the right time. Timing's a bit of a fine art with that one. But I would say that anything to deal with the situations of buffs, difficult. The champion does have, as part of its kit, this ability to not have nullification and fate seal, like it's immune to it. So Kabam have been very kindly given us a dethroned buffless, which is knocking down the defender with a Mystic Champion, inflicts a passive neutralize of 100% potency onto the defender, lasting 6 seconds. Now, you can use other champions, like you could use Doctor Doom, and because it's like the rotation thing. I'm not advocating for that, because there are other options. That's the thing, there are other options. Like you could use White Magneto and do passive parry heavy method, and use champions that inflict a lot of damage, like Longshot, for example. Morningstar and Magic, I've had a bit of fun with kind of playing around with that, and especially putting in a large SP2 damage with Morningstar was fantastic. Magic build up to the SP3, smack on through. Black Widow Clairvoyant, you could use something with that. With the buff immunity, but also SP2 rotation to power suppress and keep the champion down on power. And you could even look to use champions like Archangel with White Magneto in order to kind of bypass that Limber node. Other things that I'm going to be testing out in future videos, so look out for that. And yeah, that really concludes the cheat sheet and boss guide for the month of August. That's been a video. Thank you very much for watching. I'm trying to get this out whenever I can, and I will see you, because there's lots of content still to post very, very soon. Thanks everybody for the support. Thanks for the understanding as well. I am trying to catch up as best I can from all the stuff that I want to make, and as well, like Grandmaster Gauntlet Guide. I've got like tons of content I want to do with Gallon, with Quicksilver in the future. So yeah, keep it locked to the channel. It's going to be a busy couple of weeks whilst I catch up and get some stuff out there. So yeah, cheers everybody. Have a great day and catch you in the next one. Bye bye.